Hi, I'm David from Wellbeing for Life, and today we're just going to basically go over a few bits of very basic maintenance on a bike that may have been neglected, left in the shed for a little while. I am not a trained mechanic. If you're uncomfortable with anything you're doing on your bike, please take it to a local bike shop. As I say, this is just how I do stuff. So what we're going to do first of all is we're going to do a couple of basic checks, safety checks before you go out on your bike. And to do that, I'll need to lift the bike down. Obviously you need some tools, Allen keys, pair of pliers, screwdriver, a couple of spanners, that sort of thing, but it's all probably stuff we've got kicking about at home. So I'll lift it down. So what I tend to do before I go out on my bike is just make sure everything's nice and tight. So we start with the stem, just make sure the handlebars are tight. So put the Allen key in there, just give them a nip up, make sure everything's tight. We'll go around all four and do that. So get the Allen key in, just check everything's okay there. And that's fine. Put your fingers on your brake levers, give them a push down, make sure it's tight. Give the handlebars a wiggle from side to side again, making sure everything's tight. If you do have a little bit of play in the front end when you pull your brake, if you can feel it rocking a little bit, what we do is slacken the two stem bolts off here. I've noticed this front wheel's a little bit wonky anyway, so we'll straighten the wheel up. So we just slacken these off. There's usually one either side facing each other. So we do that. And then if the fork is loose, put an Allen key in the top, just give it a quarter of a turn, pull the front brake, try rocking the bike again. What we want is no play. And then just lift the front end up, make sure it's not binding on, it's still nice and tight. And then we just tighten these back up. There is probably a torque setting that you need to go for. What I would say is get it as tight, get it somewhere like that, and then just give it a little push. We don't want to over tighten, snap the bolt, break the stem, damage the threads, etc. So once we've done that, both sides, both of the bolts are nice and tight. We just give it another wiggle just to make sure it's all tight. Give it a push down and we're all good. So what I've noticed on this bike is the rear tyre is actually the wrong way around. It's faced in the wrong direction. So we're going to whip the bike over and we're going to take the back wheel off and turn the tyre over, turn the tyre around the correct way. So with V-brakes, what we need to do is push the arms together. Let's put those down on the floor. Push the arms together like so. If it's got the little boot on, move the little boot. Compress them so that the brake cable comes out between the brake itself, and the arms should then just pull apart like so. If you don't do that, you can't get your wheel off, or you could get it off if the tyre was flat, but you couldn't get it back on once you'd inflated the tyre. And we just flip the bike over. And on this particular bike, it's got safety skewers on the wheel, so you need an Allen key to undo these. Usually you've just got a quick release, just undo your quick release and take the wheel off. However, on this one, as I say, I've got to undo it using an Allen key. So give that a few turns just so it's loose. You don't need to take it right off. And then what we need to do is take hold of the rear derailleur, pull it back as far as you can, and that'll just allow the wheel to pop out like so. So that's your back wheel off. So because obviously this one's inflated, and we've got an issue with the direction of the tyre, we need to let the air out of this one. So we'll just let that go down. I'll put that down there. Grab my... So we've got our tyre levers. We've let all the air out of the tyre, or your tyre's already flat if you've had a puncture. The best thing to do is try and break the seal on the tyre as you go around. So we'll do that all the way around. This just makes it a bit easier to hopefully get off. Continental tyres are notoriously difficult to get on and off the rims, but we'll give it a go. And again, do that on both sides. And that'll just let you pop the tyre off as you need to. We've done that. And then we get our tyre lever and pull it round like so. Now a lot of people, if you've got folding tyres, you can generally do this by hand. This is a steel bead, so we're going to have to use the tyre levers. And then we just give it a push. And it is very tight, but you can see there it's starting to come off. It's just starting to come off there. Once we get so far round, that's it. We've broken it now, so it should be fairly straightforward from here. That's the one side off. As I say, with us changing the direction of the tyre, it's probably best to take the inner tube out as well. So we'll do that. Inner tube up. And then tighten these off quite easily. So all we're really doing on this one is just changing the direction of the tyre to make sure it's rolling in the right direction. So fingers crossed again, that'll go on by hand. Yeah, so we pop the inner tube, pop the valve back in. This one has very long valves for some reason, which isn't making this easy to do. There's the beauty of working on bikes. And this little washer that we have here, it's gone, there it is. This isn't going according to plan. There we go. All this little washer does is hold your inner tube in place when you're reinserting the tyre. So put that on like so. And then hopefully this tyre will go on a little bit easier than it came off. So all we're doing there is just feeding the tyre back inside the wall of the wheel, taking care not to trap the inner tube as we go. Yeah, it's in continental style, it's extremely tight, so we may have to use a tyre lever to get this on. There we go, finally got it back on. So now we've got the tyre and the tube set in, grab our pump. Obviously it's a lot easier with the track pump, but the little hand pump will do the job as well. Put that on. Now there's no set pressure, just what makes it feel comfy for you. Usually on a bike such as this I would go for sort of 40-45 psi. But when you get sort of halfway through, just check the tyres sitting in properly. You haven't got any bulges coming out the side, so your inner tube isn't going to pop out as you go. There we go. If you don't have a gauge, the nice way to check it is just to give it a bit of compression with your thumbs and make sure there's a little bit of give in the tyre. So that's that done. And then we've got the dust cap. And we just pop the dust cap back on there. That's good to go. So what we do again is grab the rear derailleur, put it back out the way, pop the wheel back in. As I say, if you've got the quick releases, it does make it a little bit easier, because this one's obviously designed with security in mind. That's nice and tight. While the bike's upside down, grab your pedals, just give it a crank round so that the derailleur can sit the chain back where it needs to be. And that's it, that's done. And what we do then, flip the bike over. Don't forget to reattach your brakes. So reattaching them is just basically a reversal of how you took them off. Pull them together. It can be a little bit tricky, but practice makes perfect, so they tell me. And that's that there. Pop the little boot on if it's got one, and just check your brakes are working fine. And that's us doing a rear tyre. As I say, it's the same procedure if you get a puncture. So yeah, fairly straightforward to do. So we're just going to look at setting up brakes if you need to. The V-brakes themselves generally take care of themselves. What you're looking for is good contact between the brake block and the rim without catching on the tyre itself, and also the travel of the lever that you have on the handlebar. So if we give that a spin and just check the back brakes working fine, there's no squealing from there, there's no contamination or anything like that. Everything appears to be good there. What you want to do is just make sure when you're braking that the brake blocks themselves come into contact with the rim of the bike and they're not actually touching the tyre. That side's fine on that one. This one's actually pretty well set up and that one's fine on that side. If they aren't set correctly, if you're confident enough, it's just an Allen key and a matter of adjusting them there. If you're finding that your lever's got too much travel, just something you can do at home. Quick adjustment of the barrel there. You turn that out and it gives you a shorter travel, makes your blocks come into contact with the wheel a lot quicker. If you feel you don't have enough travel, you can adjust it back there and that'll make your lever pull further in. Anything more than that, because of safety, I would generally take it to a local bike shop, let them have a look at it, they can do a full setup for you. So yeah, just a couple of quick safety checks on the brakes there. So what we're going to look at is we're going to look at the correct saddle height on a bike. Now, I appreciate a lot of people like to get the feet flat on the floor when they're on the bike, which is fine for confidence, but it's not ideal for pedalling. So if you would like to just jump on the saddle, Leslie Ann, and put your feet on the pedals, got you there. So if you try putting your feet on the floor for us now. So you can see there, even at that position, Leslie Ann's still quite stretched out. But if you pop your feet back on the pedals, what we want to look at, if you've got the ball of your foot over the centre of your pedal, and take it to the lowest position, so go backwards and just stop at the bottom. You can see she's still got quite a little bend in her leg there. Ideally it wants to be just off straight. That gives you the correct pedalling position, but what it does mean is you may struggle to reach the floor. So when you stop, you stand forward from the saddle and stand over the top tube. I appreciate people might not be comfortable with that, and they do like to get their feet on the floor. What I always try and do is recommend them to raise the saddle up as the confidence grows, because it's better for the joints, it causes less knee pain, less hip pain, and it just makes pedalling, it's a lot more efficient when you're pedalling as well. So we're just going to pop that up a little bit for Leslie Ann, so if you jump off for us. Jeez. And again, it's just a matter of quick Allen bolts. Just slacken the clamp off. Again, a lot of bikes now have quick releases. I think this bike being a sort of hybrid stroke commuter bike, it's got security in mind for parking in city centres, etc. Tighten that back up again. It's a case of there will be a correct torque setting. I generally just go tight and then just a little bit. Just make sure the saddle's nice and tight. Right, Leslie Ann, do you want to jump back on? So you can see there, legs a lot more extended there. Makes it a bit more comfortable to pedal, but if you try putting your feet on the floor and struggle, you're probably on mega tiptoes there. So when you come to a stop, if you put your feet back on the pedals, what you tend to do is keep your foot on the lower pedal, stand up and put your foot down like so. And that's the best way of stopping. So that's basic saddle height set.